Hello, my name is Shakir Gill, and today I will be showing you how you create your lessons on Moodle course pages. So the first thing to do is to turn the editing on. And then you need to add an activity or a resource. So lesson is basically an activity. So under the list of activity, you can easily find lesson. And this is how we can add the activity. When I add lesson as an activity, I come to this page. Here I can create the lesson. So first of all, I'll give the name of the lesson. So the name of the lesson is Structure of Earth. The next option is the description. It's not a mandatory option, it's an optional field. So if you want to provide a description, you can. I'm not going to do that right now. So under the appearance, you have two options. Do you want to show the progress bar to your students, or do you want to display the menu as well? See, when you're going to create a lesson, it is going to be divided into various pages. So you can actually have a display menu that will show the navigation to the students. For now, I'm going to select yes. And the progress bar is actually going to show student how much they have progressed through the lesson. So I'm going to say yes to that as well. The next is the availability. You can actually restrict the lesson as per the availability of it in the course. You can have a start date and then a deadline as well. And then you can also set a time limit for the lesson. So I'm just going to put 120 minutes, which is 2 hours for the lesson. Or alternatively, if I have to set 2 hours, what I can do is I can convert it into hours and select 2. This means that as soon as a student opens a lesson, they have 2 hours to complete the lesson. The next option is flow control. So do you want to allow student review? For now, I'm going to select yes. Do you want students to have an option to try again? So if you create a question within the lesson and students do it wrong, so they would have the provision to try the question again. But now, for now, I'm going to leave it on no. And then there is a maximum number of attempts. How many attempts do you want to allow to the students? The default is 1 and I'm leaving it on 1 for now. The next part is grade. So I'm just going to leave the grade type into point, and I'm going to assign maximum grade, that is basically total marks, that is 100. If you want this to be a part of grade book, then you would need to pick up a grade category, and you can actually assign a grade category to this lesson as well. But right now I'm just going to leave it as uncategorized. Do you want to allow students to retake the lesson? For now, I'm going to change it to yes. Do you want them to have a practice lesson as well? I'm just going to leave it to no. All the other settings are not very important for this tutorial, so I'm just keeping it basic right now. So I'm simply going to save and return to the course. Okay, when I save and return to the course, under week 1, I have created the activity, that is the lesson activity, but I haven't really built my lesson yet. So the next thing that I'm going to show you is how do you build your lesson, which is going to be the main and crucial part of this tutorial. So now we're going to build the lesson. In order to do that, we have already created a lesson activity, so we are going to access that lesson activity. As soon as you click on it, the first thing that Moodle asks you is, what would you like to do first? So we will start by creating or adding a content page. I'm going to click on add a content page. So for my lesson structure of Earth, my first page, I want it to be origin of Earth. So this is my page title. I have some written content for it, so I'm just going to put it here. And then I have other options as well. If I want to add images into this content page, I can do that. I can even add some videos. So I'm going to add a video now. So here I'm going to put a URL of the video. So I have this video from YouTube. Simply going to copy the link. And put it here. And I'm going to insert media. So here you go. My video has also entered into this content page. Okay. So my page is complete. So the next options that I get is arrange content buttons horizontally. So I'm just going to check that. And then it also says whether I want this to be displayed in the menu. So I'm going to leave it as checked. The next section is an important section for linking your pages together. So let us suppose that my next section that I'm going to create is actually going to be an assessment or a quiz, just to check whether my students are properly following the contents that have been described in this page. So I'm going to write it into a description: quiz origin of Earth. Okay, right now I'm not going to create any linkages. First, I'm going to create all the content, and then I'm going to uh, create linkages between all those content or pages or activities. So for now, we have to skip this section of jump. Reason that I'm saying that we should be doing this afterwards, it is because we have not created any content as yet. We are only going to create our first content. So there is really no section to jump in. Okay. So I'm simply going to save this page. As soon as I save it, I can see that I have created my page, origin of Earth. The page type is content. And right now, this option of jumps does not include anything. It only says that the student will jump back to this page. After we have developed our content page, Origin of Earth, the next step that I want to do is to add a question in order to assess whether my students are able to understand the content that I have shared with them. So under the actions, I will select question. And as soon as I select the question, the first thing that this page asks me is to select the question type. So there is a list of question types that is available. I'm just going to select multiple choice question. And now in this section, we are going to create a question. So I'm going to name it quiz origin of Earth. And here I'm going to put my question. My question says, Earth formed approximately blank years ago. So let us put a first answer. Let us say it is 2.6 billion and it's a wrong answer. So as soon as the student selects this option, it should say wrong answer. So this would be the response of the lesson after they select this wrong answer. So the next section is jumping. So what if a student selects this response, which is basically wrong? So where should the student go? Should the student simply go to the next page? Or what we can do is we can go back to origin of Earth. This means that unless or until the students don't get this right, they need to actually go back and view the content again. So they will get an opportunity to actually improve themselves, and then they can go further. And I want to set it up to 0 score because it's a wrong answer. In a similar way, I'm creating another answer, which is again wrong. And again, I'm going to send them to the origin of Earth. And the score for this is 0. My third answer is 4.6 billion. And this time it's a correct answer, so I'm just going to write well done. And then, now I don't need to take them back to origin of Earth. I want them to go to the next page. And if they get this right, they're going to get 1 mark. So I'm going to save this page. So basically, I have successfully created a question page by adding one question. Now let us suppose I want to add another question. Again, I'm going to select the question type first, but this time instead of multiple choice, I'm going to select true false. And I'm going to click on add a question page. So I'm going to name it quiz origin of Earth. Let's say true false. Here I'm going to write my question. So this is a statement that I've written just to check whether students know whether it's true or false. So the first thing while doing the true and false is to give a correct response. So the correct response is true. And the response, if they select this option, they're going to get a response of well done. And if they get this rightly, they'll simply go to the next page. If they get this wrong, so the wrong response is false, and wrong answer is the response from the Moodle lesson page. And if they get this wrongly, I want them to go back to this content and view it again and come back and reattempt. So I'm going to save this changes. So basically, right now I have created 3 pages. The first page is the content. The second page is a multiple choice question. The third page is true and false question. Now, in a similar way, you can actually start building more content, adding more questions, and providing a great opportunity for the students to actually get a rich lesson in which they can keep on going through the content and at the same time assessing themselves whether or not they have been able to properly understand the content, and if they haven't, the Moodle will take them back to the content and then they can go through it again and then reassess themselves until they get the questions right. So in the same way, now when I've already created one page that was related to the origin of Earth, I have actually created 2 question pages. Now I'm going to add a fourth page, which is going to be a content, and I'm going to talk about a new thing in this content. So I'm going to click on add a content page. So there we are. So I'm going to create a content page, and afterwards I'm going to create another question page, another 2 question pages, and then I'm going to come back. So here it is. I have created my entire lesson. So just to show you what my lesson is about. So what I have done today is I have created a lesson, entire lesson on structure of Earth. The first section or the content that I want to share with my students is origin of Earth. I have created content for it. Let's view the content. So there was some text content, there was a video here. So the students can go through this text, can go through the video, and then get a good understanding of this content. After that, I have posted 2 question pages, so I can actually check whether they have been able to follow this content properly or not. And then afterwards, when I'm done with this one section of my topic, I go to the second section that I just created, that is Earth's interior. This is again a content page. Here, what I have done, I actually entered an image of the Earth's interior, then gave some text over here. And then again, I have created 2 question pages just to assess my students whether they are able to follow the content that have been described in Earth's interior content page. Now we are going to look at how do we link our pages. First of all, let's look at these question pages that I have created. So quiz origin of Earth, quiz origin of Earth, true, false, quiz Earth interior multiple choice quiz, Earth's interior true, false. With these question pages, while I was creating the question, I did my linking right because I already had a content page ready for me. So let's look first at the first question page. Under the jumps, it is saying that there are two options that are going to take me back to origin of Earth. There is one option that is going to take me to the next page. So the wrong options were the ones that were taking me back to the origin of Earth, so that if I do something wrong as a student, I need to go back and review origin of Earth, and then I can come back. And then if I get the question rightly, I was to go to the next question. Similar is the case here with the true and false. If I get the question right, it will take me to the next page. If I get it wrong, it will take me to the origin of Earth so that I can review it and then reattempt this question. Okay, so there we are. So the questions have the right linkages. But if we look at the content pages, origin of Earth, Earth interior, it says under jumps that whenever I'm done with it, I'm going to come back to the space. So this is wrong. For both these content pages, it is wrong. So we are going to edit it and we are going to make it correct. So let's update it. So under the jump, now I can select next page, or I can select quiz origin of Earth. So my next part is quiz origin of Earth. So I'm simply going to select that. Even if I select next page, it will not make any difference because the next page is the quiz origin of Earth. But just in this tutorial, I'm going to select this just to show you how it is different. And then let's go look at the Earth's interior. Again, we're going to update this page. And we want this to go to the next page or to the Earth's interior multiple choice question. So we're going to take it to Earth's interior multiple choice question. There we are. So there it is. Our linkages are done. Now we are going to test run our lesson just to see the flow and just to see if it is working fine or not. So in order to do that, click on preview. So this is our first page. There is some text content over here, and underneath is the video. So I'm just going to play the video.
Tiny mind around the achingly vast universe and where it's all headed, well, we have something for you. Elements like hydrogen and helium. Farther away, heavier elements formed planets. Based on the core accretion model, gravity was the driver coalescing Earth from a cloud of dust. Though Earth was neatly orbiting the Sun as a rocky.
And then at the bottom of the page, there's a button over here. Remember when I was actually creating a description, when I was creating the content page, the name that I gave under the description was actually the description for this button. So when I'm going to click on this, I'm going to resume to the next section, which is going to be a quiz. So this is my question page. So I'm going to click on 2.6 billion and see what happens next. This is a wrong response. So this is what we have set. And let's see what happens when I continue. It takes me back to the origin of Earth so that I can review it, and then I can properly go through the content, and that would make me able to answer the question. So I'm going to go back, and this time I'm going to select 4.6 billion. Let's see what happens. Now it says my answer is correct. So let's see what happens when I click on continue. I go to the next question page, and now it is a true and false question. Let's see, and I'm going to press true, and let's see what happens. And it says well done. So this is the right answer. So I'm going to click on continue again, and now I can get to my next section of the topic, that is Earth's interior. So image over here and some content, and then at the end there is a video, so I can go through this content, learn from it, go through the video as well, and then I can proceed further. And I then reach to the question page again. What is true about Earth's mantle? So I'm going to select this. Let's see what happens. It says it's a wrong answer. So I'm now going to continue. So I'm going back to Earth's interior. So that is right. That is how I wanted it to be. That if a student wrongly answers a question, they should come back to the topic and review it and then go back again. So I'm going to select this now. And let's see what happens now. And that's the right answer. Now I'm going to continue. And I'm going to select false. And then I'm going to continue again. So congratulations, that is the end of the lesson. Okay, so had it been a student, they would have been able to view their grade. So I have successfully test run this lesson, and it works perfectly fine. It works exactly the way I wanted it to work. So thank you very much.